All right, players and traders, this is John from Play and Trade Guitars. Very excited because I've got a stack of practically brand new Fender guitars with stackable TSA road cases for all your road travels when the world does reopen and we do play concerts again. And this is a matching set of twins. But let's start flipping cases because I'm very excited about this particular haul of Fender guitars. These are going to be limited edition Fender special run guitars. Let's flip open the case and meet our first. Okay, so you can see this guitar has all the plastic on it. It is a limited edition Lake Placid Blue metallic finish. It's got a striped ebony fretboard, and if you check out the striping on this, it's absolutely amazing. I've never seen a piece of ebony like that. But this is the American Professional series. This is going to be a brand new 2019 model with all the tags, all the stickers on it. Other than that, it's a classic Telecaster, just with special modern touches. I am really a fan of the Telecaster in general. I think the Telecaster is the most versatile electric guitar on the planet. Check this out. Still got the original hang tags on it. Like I said, this is brand new. US 19 serial number puts it at 2019, American made, but that headstock gets me every time. I think this gloss black and then where it meets this striped ebony fretboard is just absolutely stunning. And really, because they're brand new, it's not that there's anything much from a repair standpoint. It's going to be more so taking apart a modern Fender American made Telecaster and Strat, giving you a chance to compare the both. So remember, this is a communal exercise. On the bench gives you the opportunity to weigh in. I'm a player first, technician probably last, but the fun thing is I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, dig in and take these apart. Just weigh in on the comments and let us know what you might have to add. Some modern touches on this Tele, these really cool brass saddles, a couple single coil pickups, classic Telecaster, bridge pickup, and neck pickup. Let's set this one aside and let's actually check out its Stratocaster counterpart. And this one, and Zach will give you a chance to take a close look there. Also an ebony fretboard, not common for Strats and Teles. Something unique to this limited edition American Professional Series Stratocaster. Just something unique to this Fender Special Run guitar series. There weren't many of these made, and so for me to get a set of the Lake Placid Blue, both the Stratocaster and the Telecaster, to me was a big deal to be able to take apart and show you guys these brand new models. So let's start by taking apart this Stratocaster. I'm going to go ahead and move aside this flight case, start taking her apart. So as always, I've got my trusty yoga mat and I've got a blanket folded on over that just to support the headstock while I work. Nice piece of padding down to protect the body. Please do weigh in. If you have a comment about how they're making these professional series Stratocasters, if I show you something that sparks a comment or an idea, drop it in the comments. Let's get to work. Let's get our hands dirty and take this Stratocaster apart. I'm going to start with my string winder, loosen up these strings. These feel like 9-gauge strings from the factory. When I loosen up the strings, I do like to start low, high, and then work my way to the middle to take the tension off of the guitar in somewhat of an even fashion. What are your thoughts on buying a brand new Fender versus buying a used? Something that makes me a little nervous when I buy a brand new guitar is I don't know how that neck or that piece of wood is going to settle out over the next 10 to 15 years. And so one thing I like about featuring used and vintage instruments is a lot of that wood has dried out and settled in and can take a beating, and it's typically not going to move around much once it settles. All right, strings are loosened up. I'm going to try to preserve these strings since they're brand new. I don't really see a sense in wasting them. Now, one tech tip, and I talked about this when I took apart the Firebird, when you have probably the biggest risk for cosmetic damage on a guitar like this is going to be this beautiful gloss headstock. And the reason for that is these metal strings, the tips of these strings, and this glossy black headstock, they don't get along very well. Strings are out. It's going to allow us to get a real close look at that striped ebony fretboard, which is just gorgeous. This also still has the factory plastic on it. We're going to leave it that way. Use a hand driver, don't use a power tool. You'll always risk, especially when reattaching, that you go too far with the screw and crack these plates. The first look at any of the inner workings. So 3 springs in there. No reinventing of the wheel here, just classic Strat trem system. 2 locking screws. What's your preference? Are you the type of player that likes to lock down the bridge? I personally do. I think it leads to more stable tuning. If you're trying to lock down a Strat bridge, all you would simply do is evenly, one at a time, tighten these screws down until this trem system is blocked down so that the trem can't move, leading to more stability and tuning. Only tighten enough to keep it locked down. Don't over tighten it. Don't cause yourself extra headaches. That's my preference, but you can get a lot of amazing sounds out of a Strat trem. So I do appreciate those that leave it floating. I tend to block mine down. This one is floating. I'm going to leave it floating. I'm not going to tighten anything down. So let's get at the pickups and the faceplate now and the pickguard. So all the electronics on the Strat, of course, are going to be contained within this pickguard. So the first time I tried to take a Strat apart, I took all these screws out and found out that my pickups detached and it was just a mess. So you don't even need to, on a Strat, you don't need to pop off the tone and volume knobs. You don't need to do any of that. All you have to do is take off the perimeter screws and the whole thing will come up as a set and makes it real easy to look at and access. But as someone who buys and sells used guitars, I've also noticed that the new models with higher price tags have pushed up the resale values of all the old models. So in many cases, I can buy an old style Fender Deluxe or Fender Standard and sell it today for as much as those would have sold new. I have that to thank them for, I guess, when I'm reselling used gear. I'm going to carefully start to get my hands under here. Depending on the length of the leads, it's going to dictate which direction you can shift this up. But I have enough lead to be able to flip this up and take a look. There's a barcode scanner here, some foil for the shielding, and it says PG Assembly, so pickguard assembly, limited edition American Pro Strat. So on this style guitar, the volume knob has an actual printed circuit board with some little microchips there. You would have never seen that on an older Strat. And then here's a look at our tone, 250K. But there's a look under the hood. If you want to get a picture of the routing, you can see they've got their ground down into the routed body. And they've really gone wild with their barcode system here. This is kind of weird. They've got like a flake of something sticking up. It's like a piece of metal. My job now is just to safely and softly start putting this back together and drop it back down. No problem. They've given you enough wire here to be able to access this input jack if you ever need to service it or clean it. So we'll pull this neck off. It's going to be a typical Strat bolt-on neck. And for this particular neck, we'll go ahead and just loosen up in an X pattern. I like to do the initial loosening while holding the guitar upright to balance. This sticker, you know, I know this is probably some kind of regulation, but it drives me nuts that they add these don't throw away stickers on these plates. Can't they find some better place to put this? Not fighting gravity here. I'm going to lift up the neck, turn the body slowly, and lay that back down. So here, I guess this is the answer to that hole. They route out, and is this some kind of stabilization? I don't understand what that piece does. And then there's a few inspection marks. You can see the wood there. So the big news out of Fender is they're doing away with ash altogether and moving to strictly alder bodies for environmental concerns and or cost and quality concerns. Or you can let us know. I'm sure one of you know. Meanwhile, here's the neck. Crazy with their barcode system again. We got a combination new and old here because we got hand inspection marks which are etched in here. And we got neck, GC, Ampro, Strat, PME, Black, Mill. Oh, and here's a date. Look at. I don't know why they ever got away from this. It's so cool in the vintage guitars. I don't know why they stopped doing that. September 4th, 2019 is when this was produced. They give you this skinny little truss rod hole to get a wrench in there without damaging this black gloss finish. All right, that's all I've got to say about the Strat. I'm going to reassemble the Strat and we're going to pull apart the Tele. You want to hold it? Yeah. Zach wants to hold it. Let me film you. Yeah. Is it heavier, lighter than you thought?
Way lighter than I thought. More top heavy.
Pretty cool.
Now can I see the body?
Yeah.
That's cool too.
Yeah, it is fun to take this stuff apart. I mean, even if you don't need to fix it, it's always a good excuse for us to learn to take this stuff apart and put it back together. And you'll see this grain come to life in a hurry here. First I go kind of against the grain just to get it started. One more drop here. This is actually looking quite a bit dry, to tell you the truth. This is soaking this up, so I'm glad we're doing this. Strats at the moment, so starting at 4. So 1 3/4 inches at the nut. So you can see actually, here's an adjustment I would already recommend though. And this is, you're gonna have to deal with this every time you buy a brand new guitar. So this is a floating bridge. This is floating too much. So actually, I already know I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna quickly, while I have the strings on, take the back plate off and tighten that up a little bit because that's pulling up way too much. And that's a quick remedy, no problem. And do about 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep in mind, this is going to make the strings go sharp. I should have actually down-tuned this before I did that, but it's not. Just take a little bit of tension off the strings while you do this adjustment. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so where did I leave off with that? Let's measure. So I have roughly a 1/4 inch now between the trem plate, back plate where the ground wire is attached, and the actual body cavity. Before you put the back plate on, you might as well tune back up.
That would make good to have on film.
So check this out now. There's much less of a gap between the trem and the body. Before it was sticking way up, and now because we tightened those 2 screws, we have much less of a gap. If you're a player who uses the trem, there's still room enough to let it do a full vibrato, which means up and down cleanly, but it doesn't have that major gap, which was leading to instant tuning issues. But yeah, don't assume that your brand new Fender is ready to go. Do some setup if it doesn't feel right to you. And rather than go on forums and ask everyone exactly how a guitar should be set up, trust your instincts, and if your action feels too high or too low, or you have buzzing or something doesn't feel right, learn what you like as a player and set it up that way. Fender kindly reminds you not to throw your Stratocaster in a garbage can. Maybe it means no garbage riffs. We'll just do this. There's the bridge. Here's the neck. Here's the middle. Here's combination. Here's going to be bridge and middle. Here's going to be the neck and middle. Here's the tone down all the way. Here's the bridge toned down all the way. Beautiful guitar, sounds like a Strat. That was on the crunch channel, minimal amount of crunch.
I would just noodle around. I wouldn't even.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I think we'll.
Here's the neck. That was the clean channel. Let's do a little bit of noodling just in the dirty. We'll be done with this guitar. That's a Stratocaster. American Professional Series, that's probably the first time it was ever actually played because the thing is brand new. All the plastic's on it. I'm not going to ding it up, so I'll put it back in its case and sell it to one of you. So if you like this Strat, it's just been taken apart. We showed you all the pieces. We put it back together and proved to you it works. I love the way it sounds. I am such a sucker for dark woods on the fretboard. To me, I love a classic maple Strat, but to me, rosewood is like my go-to, and this ebony to me is unreal. I think the neck feels fantastic. Action is right where I want it. This is a Stratocaster. I mean, this is a fantastic Stratocaster. Great job out of Fender. I give it my my golden pick award, whatever that is. So great pick. Let's compare it to the Tele. Let's do that rapid fire and we'll check it out.
Sounds awesome.
Sick, man. How can you go wrong with just, I mean, Fender, like, they did this out of the gate and they got it so right. I always love a Strat. I'm excited about this one. We'll hang it right here. Okay. Oh, I gotta put
the necks on these guys.
Dude, it's insane. All right, so here's going to be a rapid fire disassembling of the Fender American Professional Series Telecaster in a really amazing Lake Placid Blue metallic finish, and this striped, really exotic looking, unique piece of ebony with a stripe of white and a stripe of dark ebony in there. And matching pickguard gloss headstock. Of course, the Telecaster has no back panel, so there's nothing really to take off here. You have one of my favorite ways to load strings, stick them right through the body. So let's get these strings off real quick. We'll take a look at the inner workings of this Telecaster.
I think it was just that Guitar Center when I was man, my arm is like actually hurting.
Yep.
Just never realized how much I shaped my playing to the Strat.
Yeah, and actually, I've developed knots in my arms after long shows from playing the Telecaster because of exactly that reason. So different than the Strat in that the Telecaster is going to have the neck pickup accessible by taking this plate off, and the bridge pickup, which is like practically a piece of the bridge here, this metal bridge, which is so iconic and so essential to what makes a Telecaster sound like a Telecaster, is this metal bridge, nice and bright. So let's pull off the bridge plate first and see what we're working with here. It's a fairly short lead. So actually it's a very short lead, so I won't even really be able to flip this up to show you. Let's see if we can get it under the light though, Zach. So pretty cool, here's a Telecaster bridge pickup. It's affixed to this copper plate here. Ground wire soldered straight to this copper plate. Two lead wires going off into the volume and tone control. So I always want to think of the Telecaster as a simpler guitar than the Strat. However, it's worth noting that everything's much harder to get at than a Strat, because on a Strat you can pull off the faceplate and access all the controls, all of the pickups, everything you need to access you can get at in a Stratocaster by just pulling the faceplate off. Think about a Telecaster, you have three different plates that you're working with. You're working with the bridge plate, you're working with the tone and volume and three-way selector plate, and then you're dealing with the pickguard, which is where the neck pickup is housed. A whole lot more packed in here. Oh, look at that. Got a three-way pickup selector switch. Again, Fender using a stamped circuit board on the volume. Harder to service, at least from my standpoint. I don't really want to mess with something like that. These are 250K pots. So carefully reposition. They got a whole bunch of guts here to tuck back in carefully. Get everything to kind of lay right. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And the last thing we'll pull off here is the pickguard, which houses the neck pickup. You see they have a barcode system. It says pickguard assembly, American Pro Telecaster, right-handed, EWB, or RHBWB. I'm assuming that means right-handed. But that's about it. It's a pretty simple machine. Carefully tuck these wires back in their place. Before I restring this guitar, we're going to pull off this Tele neck, take a quick look. If it's fighting you in any way, sit down and figure out why. Because this joint right here is the most delicate, right here. Do not fight, you will break that piece of plastic. I'm going to seat it back down and lift straight out if I can and figure out which direction. There it goes. It wants to come straight forward. November 11th, 2019. So less than a year old, this guitar just went through its first winter. And I could even attribute that tightness of the neck fitting in there to the fact that it was made in November, sitting here on a humid day in Chicago. So wood expands, and it makes sense that it fits in there quite tightly. It was a little bit more difficult to remove. So brand new guitars are going to go through adjustments as they go through their first seasons, depending on where you live. Well, we've got a US 19 serial number American neck. Fender goes crazy with their barcode system. It says neck American Pro Tele, streaked ebony, black. So streaked ebony is what they call that. A few inspector marks penciled on. All right, so let's put this neck back on. Check out that beautiful finish though, Lake Placid Blue. Not a scratch on this thing. Could tell it looked a little dry after its first winter. 1 11/16 of the nuts. Let's get the pickup reading. 7.2 in the bridge, 3.2 in the middle, 5.6 in the neck. Why don't we go ahead and do that with the Strat real quick. Bridge pickup, 6.3. Middle pickup, 6.2. Neck pickup, 6.1. Interesting, so these all have the same pickups. 6.2, 6.2, 6.1. They're basically all the same. And we had bigger difference on the Telecaster. Quick weight, 8.4 pounds. £8.4, exactly the same weight. Let's shoot out these riffs. All right, here comes that bridge pickup. Here's that middle. Here's that neck. There's the tone all the way down. Same thing on the clean channel. Bridge pickup. Here's the middle. Neck pickup. Tone all the way down. Bridge pickup, tone all the way down. And middle, tone all the way down. Beautiful sound in Tele. A little bit of vamping. We'll go back to the dirt channel. Neck pickup. Here's the middle. great sounding Tele, great sounding Stratocaster. On behalf of Play & Trade Guitars, my name is John. Let people know what we're doing here. You just watched us take apart brand new Fender Special Run Limited Edition American Professional Series Telecasters and Stratocaster in this amazing Lake Placid Blue finish.
Yeah, do the outro.
Amazing streaked ebony fretboards. Both of these feel and sound amazing. I'm a Tele guy. If I had to give it to one of them, I'd have to give it to the Strat in this case. This Strat was like out of this world. The Tele's great, it feels amazing, but the Strat is like out of this world. It's just one of those that is a perfect Stratocaster. Both of them totally amazing. Beautiful, beautiful guitars. We've got them set up, we've got them cleaned up and inspected, showed you all the inner workings, all the nuts and bolts. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe and let your friends know what we're doing here at Play & Trade Guitars. You're part of this community. Thanks for weighing in on the comments. Take care of yourselves and hop on Reverb and buy these. They'll be for sale. We hope you pick it up real soon. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.